Hello there, Internet. Mogwai here, and it has been more than a minute. It's been like a month, which is a lot, since I've uploaded a video, and a lot of you are probably wondering, where the hell am I? What am I doing? Why am I so goddamn inconsistent? It's not only been this past month, right? Like this past 4 months, I haven't really been uploading super regularly, right? Ever since July, the whole daily uploads idea, I haven't been up to par with that. And I think it's about time I made an update video in which I essentially ramble in front of the camera. No script. I have an idea of what I want to say, but there's going to be a lot of yapping, maybe some stuttering here and there, because I'm also going to be a little bit rusty as well. I haven't done one of these, because I've done videos like these quite a lot throughout my career. You know, a lot of you probably don't know that I've been doing YouTube for well over 10 years. Yeah, I feel very old. So every now and then I would make a video like this in which I would just start rambling in front of the camera and talking about things and stuff in my life. And it's been well over a year and a half at the very least. I haven't kept track, but I know that for at least like a year and a half, I haven't done one of these. So I think I'm allowed one, essentially. For those of you who don't really care what's going on, like why I haven't been so consistent, like you just want to know when the uploads are coming back, and that's that's really on your mind, I got good news for you. Uploads will be returning tomorrow onwards. I already have 3 videos prepared, and we'll keep going on from there. A good chunk of you probably noticed that I've returned streaming 3 days ago, so it's not like I just came out of nowhere. I did do that 3 days ago, where I basically streamed my climb from Great Ball 3, because I hadn't played ranked in months, so I demoted like crazy. I was at Great Ball 3, and because I used to be Master Ball, and I basically climbed from Great Ball 3 to Master Ball in 3 streams, a total of 10 hours. So with a pretty high win rate, actually. Like I did really well. I had a 77% win rate. So I played 91 games. I won 70 and I lost 21. So very successful. One of my best climbs, probably my best climb ever, which was nice given the lack of, activity and the rustiness. And I'll be sharing the decks that I used to climb for that rank over the next few days, alongside a new spicy one that I for a card that I didn't really have a full set of up until now. But that's that, right? So because I don't want to turn this into a podcast, but yeah, I have the uploads are returning back, and we are less than 2 weeks away from the new expansion, which will be a big one with the new Mega Evolutions. And we will be covering that, and that'll be exciting. So that's that. All right, now the rest of the video is just going to be me talking about what's going on with my life, like why I've been so inconsistent over the last 4 months, and especially this last month where I essentially just completely vanished, right? And again, I have discussed this in the streams, but I have to assume that a good chunk of you don't actually watch the streams. So I wanted to go over it in a video, if you guys don't mind. First of all, I mean, there has been an element of burnout. Like, that is the truth. I've been covering Pokemon Pocket ever since its release. We are well on our way to a 1-year anniversary because the game was released in late October. So it has been a year, essentially, of us covering Pokemon Pocket. And I have to say, like, around June of this year, I was definitely feeling the burnout of the game, because it's a very fun game. But when you play it on a daily basis, nonstop, Pokemon Pocket is the kind of game that can get a little bit repetitive if you're just like playing it every single day a bunch of hours, right? It's technically meant to be a game where you log in for a little bit, you do your missions, you can play a little bit of ranked or whatever, like now that that's a thing, but I don't think it was designed to be a game where you just like spend 8 hours every day playing it, like just dedicating yourself completely to it, even though there are people who do that, right? And nothing against them. But for me, making content on it and doing everything that I did on it, I was just essentially living on the game. Like I was just like, my life was Pokemon Pocket for many, many months. And eventually I'm human. I'm also like the way my brain is wired. Like I do tend to like, dive deeply into something, but then, if that's something that I'm diving into doesn't really offer me something like fresh, it can get quite stale for me. So I did reach points where I needed genuine breaks from the game, right? And that kind of is what happened in July. I just kind of hit that wall and I needed a bit of a vacation, essentially. I was doing a sponsorship with, that I competed against Godsley for the whole like Raid Shadow Legends thing. And that, I was pretty burnt out, so that actually was not easy for me to do because I was just kind of like in the mood of like, just taking a break in general. But, we did do that, and that did actually help us, pay our bills and stuff, right? So that was nice. Ultimately, that's part of the thing, right? For like, especially for like July, but that's not really at all the reason why I have been very inconsistent and pretty much like nowhere to be seen for the last month. The reality is I have been working on a project for the past 7 years of my life. And now I'm at a stage where things are actually like, basically I've been building it up for years. And now this year was the point of like, where things actually started moving forward. Let me try to make some sense, all right, and explain what I'm actually doing. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in an update video. I think I may have because it's been many years, but it's definitely been a long time since I talked about it. I have talked about it in the streams, like I said, but I will talk about it here. I am writing a manga series, and I know that may come off like really weird, like this YouTuber, I was gonna say American, but I'm actually Spanish. This Spanish YouTuber is like writing a manga. Okay, can you draw? No, I can't. I'm actually not a good artist at all. My plan is to work with an artist to create an ongoing manga series, and it is essentially my dream. It is what I have been working towards for, like I said, the past 7 years of my life. And I'm at a point where things are getting really, really, really exciting because it's set in motion. I finished chapter 3, basically like a week and a half ago. And there's still like a lot of tweaks and stuff. But I'm currently designing like the first arc and everything. And I'm really excited. I've already worked. I'm working with an environmental concept artist to design the city where the first big part of the story takes place, and that's also I was actually in a call with him yesterday. Like we were working on like a bunch of different aspects of the design of the city and everything, and it's just. Yeah, but I feel like I need to backpedal a little bit here and explain myself. Like a manga series, okay? What are you talking about? You're way in over your head, right? Like what are you doing? You post Pokemon videos on a YouTube channel, and you're like all of a sudden say that you're gonna write a story, right? I have always been a storyteller ever since I was a kid. Like. I have shared this in the past in the channel, but I think I shared this like 4 years ago or something, where I actually have a lot of like old comics that I would make. I created this fake editorial. It was called Green Bike Incorporated, and as a kid, I made like a hell of. I'm trying to keep it PG, but a shitload of comics. I wrote a shitload of comics. I drew them with my terrible drawings, and I created all these wacky stories. I was always a weird kid. Like I would, when I was like 10, like, I would love to go to the forest, where nobody could see me. And I would just play out these stories that I had in my head. And I've always been a huge fan of the anime medium. I considered animation to be the medium that has no limits, essentially. And I've taken inspiration from many stories. Some of them manga or anime, and a lot of them different genres like movies and shows and books. Because, you know, there's good stuff everywhere, right? And 8 years ago or so, I started to really feel that creative itch. You know, things were going well with YouTube, but I always ask myself, given the kind of person that I am, like, okay, so what are we doing like several years from now, right? Am I okay with just dedicating myself to playing video games, recording myself playing said video games and uploading and all that for the rest of my lifetime? Like, what am I going to be doing as I age further? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure most people who do this kind of job don't really think that far ahead in that regard, and they are happy doing what they do for as long as they possibly can. And that's phenomenal, right? Like, I don't take what I do for granted. I'm very grateful that I took this path, because it also just gave me a lot of freedom to pursue my creative itch, right? It's the reason why I did Pokemon Showdown and why I got into card games. I like making stuff. I like, whether it's making decks, making teams. I enjoy very much games that allow me to express my tactical skills and my creativity making things with what, you know, the resources that are offered to me. So I very much, you know, have always been really grateful, and I enjoy what I do. But part of me has always felt a little bit like there's this hole in me that is just like, I want to make something bigger. Like, I want to make something where I want to tell a story. Like, I've always wanted to tell a story. Like, for my entire life, I've always had that drive. And as I got older and as the years passed by, I realized that in life, nobody's going to take that step for you. Nobody, like, if you want to make something, you know, whatever it is, like, if there is something that you want to pursue, like, nobody's going to take that risk. And that's kind of like the same thing that compelled me to make a YouTube channel to begin with. When I made my YouTube channel as a Spaniard, this career path was completely unheard of. Every time I remember when I mentioned this to my parents, when I mentioned this to my friends, they were all just naturally very skeptical. Just like, you can't make a living doing that, you know, like, what are you doing, right? This is weird. Like, you're doing well in college, like, finish your degree and then you can just, like, do this for fun or whatever. But ever since, I've always had, like, an instinct that I'm not saying that it means that I'll be good or successful at whatever I do. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I guess I'm less held back by the fear of failure. And I want to pursue what my mind ultimately tells me to pursue, like my very being. You know, I'm not a particular religious person. I'm you know, nor am I super, like, spiritual. Like, I'm just one of those people, I just don't know what's going on. Like, we all just spawned in this universe, and you know, we're all just trying to figure our way. But I do feel like at our core, we are who we are, and we should listen to our thoughts and our drives, and we should pursue what we believe that, you know, I actually think that I am meant for this. There's like a bug going around, and it's kind of distracting me. I believe I'm meant for this. I believe this is something that I was ultimately born for. And I have nothing, no actual thing of substance to found those beliefs in, but I believe it. Like, I have always wanted to tell a big story, and I am going to pursue that. And for the past 7 years, I have been world building like crazy. My story does not take place in an alternate version of Earth. My story takes place in a different world entirely. It is a story about humans. Like, we're not talking about aliens or something like that, but it is a different world, like fantasy worlds, right? With fictional nations, politics, and all that stuff. Technology, methods of transport, weaponry. Everything is something that I have been constructing year after year after year as I devise the concept of my story. I've created what you call a magic system. Though I don't like the term magic. I'm more of a sci-fi kind of guy in a way. But I feel like at the end of the day, magic and sci-fi are kind of like the two sides of the same coin. Like, there's just the same thing, really, fundamentally. But yeah, I have created a system, and I have come up with a concept that I feel very, very confident in. Like, I think I have something special, something that's actually quite original and fresh, but something that has been inspired on stories that I have personally loved. So what have I been inspired in? What are my biggest sources of inspiration? I'd say when it comes to anime, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Attack on Titan are amongst my biggest sources of inspiration. But I've also been heavily inspired by Japanese RPG games that I have played since my childhood that have really defined me. Like, the games that I just absolutely immersed myself in. The likes of Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy IX, and more importantly, Chrono Trigger. When I refer to these games, I refer to the way combat goes. Like, Chrono Trigger's combat of having three units, three people fighting together, and their attacks, having combo attacks of 2 and 3, is something that has been a big source of inspiration as well. And like I said, over these past, out of these 7 years, most of that time, up until this year, has been purely world building and plot designing. So I have the blueprint for the plot, like the villain, the answers to the great mysteries of the world, everything. That is all planned out. As I've studied, writers from different mediums and stuff, I actually learned that a lot of people label writers into two different categories, right? You have a gardener and you have the architect. And most writers are a bit of a blend of these two, and there's like this spectrum, and they lean more to one side or the other, but they're never fully one thing or another, right? I definitely lean heavily towards the architect side. I need to have everything planned out before I start diving in, and that's what I've been doing for all these years. I've created this world with nations, like I said, politics, and the biology, the geography, all that. I have created a system of a magic system itself, and the concept from which the combat revolves around, essentially. And I have also created the overall plot. I have a blueprint of the great bit, part 1, part 2, the massive chunks of the overall story, and the characters. Who are the characters? How they will interact together. All these things. That's what I've spent all this time planning, It has been a wonderful experience, but also a very slow one at that, right? There have been periods in which I have been hyper focused on it, and I've gotten a lot done. And there have been periods where, you know, I've been really focused on YouTube and everything and streaming, and I have had less time to focus on it. But over the span of these years, I never, ever 100% stopped working on this. I've gone through different phases. You know, there's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of moments where I doubted myself, you know, because when you build up this massive world and you just keep constructing onto it, but you don't really have anybody to share it with, it gets lonely sometimes. It gets really lonely, and you start doubting whether like you're actually like am I going to be able to pull this off? Like I've gone through a lot. It's been an emotional roller coaster in that sense. But even in my lowest points, even in the moments where I just lost complete hope in myself, and I just thought, you know, I've been wasting my time. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not meant for this, or I don't have the skills for this, or I'm not in a position to do this. Even in the darkest moments, something within me just told me to just keep going, keep pushing, and I just kept going. I just kept, you know. Whether I felt great about it or bad, I just kept walking forward in that sense. And here we are, where I actually have begun to write. I actually have a lot, you know, I have a lot planned, and now I'm literally just like writing the scripts, describing the panels, like the size of the panels, what's happening in those panels, and of course the dialogue on top of that. I have come a long way with really trying to get, like, I do actually believe I have a pretty solid skill at visual storytelling, right? You know, combining visual dynamics with dialogue and proper pacing to make something that's easy and fun to read. And I also have come up with some like just really, really compelling like action that's also like very tactical. And I'm in a position where things are going, you know, like it's happening. And I have the rest of 2025, 2 months and a half to really, I want to use these months to really flesh out the first arc and find an artist. That's going to be the most difficult aspect of this. I have to find an artist, and my plan is to use my platform to set up a fundraiser, a Kickstarter or something like that, to essentially, you know, build up funds to pay an artist. Like it would be only for that, to be able to pay a good artist to work with me, because I think a lot of serious artists, talented artists, especially like manga artists who would be willing to work with somebody from the West, the idea of just like, oh, we just go 50-50 on royalties or whatever. I don't think anybody who's serious, I can't expect people to accept something like that, right? If somebody is going to commit to my story to that extent, like I want them paid. Like they need to have a salary. They need to be able to. So I will try to set up a really, but in order to set up a campaign like that, I can't just go out of the blue and be, hey, help me, I have this cool story, you know, just help me. Like I have to do a crazy good presentation with pre-established character designs, a clear premise, like a clear synopsis of like, you know, the plot, and a lot of art, you know, like I'm already commissioning like the city, like I said, and explaining my system, you know, of like the abilities and what a tactician is, because that's the title of my story. My story is called The Tactician of Fire and Stone. And it is a concept that has been 7 years in the making. A concept that has been, you know, like when you build up a sandcastle and then you just like tear it down and you start over again. Like I've done that for years, you know. I've tried again and again to come up with the concept that not only was fresh and exciting, but was also sound and was able to sustain itself and throughout like an ongoing period of time. And if you're curious about this concept itself, because I've been at it for 25 minutes. I don't know why I thought, I'm still recovering from a cold, by the way, in case you hear me coughing. I don't know why I thought that I was going to be able to make this video like 10 minutes. Oh my goodness. I do go over the concept in, it's actually like, if you want to check it out, because I feel like I'm just going to be making I feel like I'm just going to be making the video too long. It's basically, if you go to my live tab, the stream that says, okay, now for real, Master Ball today, I talk about my premise, like the concept of scions and tacticians within the first hour of the stream. Like I think I start around like 15 minutes or something like that. So you can check that out there, because I feel like if I start, talking about, maybe I can just mention it. I mean, it's explained there. So if you're really curious, if you're actually curious, you can go to that live and you can check, me talking about it there. Because otherwise it's going to be too long, right? Like I've been talking for 26 minutes and, I think the days are long gone where I can just like talk for 40 minutes in front of a camera and people, I think people's attention spans are not where they used to be, so what the hell have I been saying for 20? Oh my goodness. I'm really excited for this period. I'm still going to be making content. Obviously, I need to pay the bills, and I still enjoy very much what I do, right? But I just wanted to clarify, like, why, what am I doing when I'm not like uploading? What am I doing when I just like take these breaks? Like I don't go on so many vacations. Like I actually have never had a vacation itself. I have always been working like crazy, whether it's on the YouTube content, the YouTube uploads, or this. I like doing things. Okay, it's actually the person that I am. I like doing things, and it's just been a lot. And it's really cool because I'm at a point where I can just start sharing, and I want to share this journey. I want to use this channel, eventually when I have like stuff to share, like I will be making videos talking more about my concept, about my world, with visual, with images to add on top of that, and not just me talking in front of a camera, right? Like I really think I have something that could potentially be quite special, and it all comes down to execution, obviously. But it's a crazy thing. I understand. Like it is, but that's just kind of who I am. Like I take risks. Who knows? Maybe I just fail miserably. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it my absolute all. I'm gonna try to make my dream come true. I think I have something that is very much worth delivering, and I just wanted to share. And that's basically, again, if you want to know more about it, check out the live VOD, the okay, now for real, Master Ball today. It's actually the VOD in which I make it to Master Ball, and you can check out the very beginning of the VOD where I start talking about it, if you are curious. Regardless, whether you're curious or not, you're kind of like a bit weirded out, or you're very intrigued, like it depends on the person watching this. I appreciate you sticking around and listening to what I have to say. And again, uploads will be returning tomorrow for those of you who are excited about that. If you guys have any questions and stuff, like if you would like for me to talk more about this, and share more, like I do plan on streaming more throughout this month. So I can definitely share more information if you guys would like that. that's it. Really appreciate you. Love ya. I missed you guys a lot. Like these last 3 days streaming, even though I was kind of sick because of this nasty cold, they were extremely fun. I had a great time. And yeah, it just feels good to be back. All right. So have a great day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.